When people hear the term hyperactivity, they usually think about little boys bouncing off the walls. But hyperactivity can show up as things like racing thoughts and oversharing. It also means that we are more passionate, more driven, and more tactile. In this video, I want to talk about the good and bad parts of hyperactivity and give you tips and tricks so that you can harness that energy and direct it towards success. So let's get started. ADHD is broken up into 3 types. There's inattentive, hyperactive, and combined. These labels, however, are fairly arbitrary. Our symptoms are not static. They can change throughout our lifetimes or even just with our cycle, thanks to the relationship between estrogen and dopamine. But when you dig a little deeper, some experts believe that there are no subtypes for ADHD, that hyperactivity is just the same energy, either manifesting physically in the body or mentally, with racing thoughts, overthinking, and oversharing. Whether your hyperactivity is physical or mental, it can cause all sorts of problems in your life. So let's get into those cons. Hyperactivity in any form can be easily misunderstood. People see it as rude, immature, or even unstable. And if you're prone to people-pleasing, like most ADHDers, you're likely going to start questioning your own character. The problem is that most people don't question this kind of behavior. They attribute it to disrespect without considering any alternative explanations. And when you respond with an immediate people-pleasing apology, that just reinforces the idea that you've done something wrong, when in reality, it's just ADHD. I mean, let's talk hyperactive behaviors for a second. Fidgeting during meetings, needing to doodle in order to pay attention, or talking too fast are not really serious offenses. They're not unforgivable actions. So why do we hate ourselves for these things? ADHDers are often described as too much, too loud, too emotional, too fidgety, too random. But what if everybody's wrong? What if we're not too much? What if we're just simply more? And that extra that we bring to the table that does take up more room is an asset as long as we make room for it. But I'm off topic, so let's get back to that cons list before I go on a tangent. The next con on the list is the inability to focus and do deep work. When hyperactivity gets too intense, we struggle with follow-through. We may start a bunch of projects without ever finishing them, or we'll just keep ourselves busy with nothing more than busy work. When you're unable to stop moving, it's very hard to dig deep on any one subject. Slowing down and truly analyzing the behaviors or thoughts you're having is just too painful. So you keep yourself going a mile a minute to avoid having those really difficult conversations with yourself. Hyperactivity can feel safer. This can prevent us from doing the work that helps us heal and grow. Think about it. How are you supposed to do the deep work if you move on to the next thing before you have a chance to thoroughly understand it? And do you know what else you need in order to heal and grow? That's our next con. Hyperactivity affects your ability to sleep. ADHDers are notorious for having horrible sleep habits. And I think we've all been there, where we're just laying in bed, our minds racing a mile a minute and having no ability to turn it off and just go to sleep. Hyperactivity of the mind happens whether you have hyperactivity in your body or not. And it makes functioning normally much harder. And if you have enough sleepless nights, added to the fact that you have a body or mind that never sits still, you're going to get burnt out. How could we not? But there are pros to being like this. ADHDers are often more enthusiastic and passionate than neurotypicals. That need to do stuff can move mountains when we know how to direct that energy towards the things that bring us success. Hyperactive ADHDers, especially women, can often be misdiagnosed because their hyperactivity shows up as achievement. They're the doctors and the lawyers. I mean, I'm not sure you can even get through medical school without some level of hyperactivity. Whether that hyperactivity shows up physically or mentally, it makes us quick thinkers. We can generate ideas easily at a moment's notice, even when we lack the skills for execution. This quick wit can make us more interesting people. We're funnier and more engaging to talk to. Hyperactivity can also give us a creative boost, allowing us to work much faster than our peers. That's why we so often excel at high stress, high energy jobs. We can handle the constant moving and shaking. We just need to learn to be intentional with our moving and shaking. And that leads us to our tips and tricks. Tip number 1 is to move with intention. Take up a sport or get a gym membership. The more you move through your hyperactivity, the easier it's going to get for you. If this isn't in the cards for you right now, get a standing desk or one of those under the desk treadmills, and consider asking your colleagues if this is something that they would be interested in. You might be surprised. You can also ask your boss for accommodations. And don't be shy about this. It's not that big a deal to have a small treadmill underneath your desk, but it can be a game changer for your productivity. Your other option is to start doing walking meetings, and they're exactly what they sound like. You schedule your appointments with people, but instead of having them in the office or at a coffee shop, you literally go for a walk. This is really great for difficult conversations because it's far less confronting to walk side by side with somebody than face to face. And if big movements are out of the question, then we can move on to tip number 2. Sometimes moving this much is just not possible. And in that case, get yourself some fidget tools. There are some really discreet tools for you to use. You don't need one of those colorful, chewable Lego brick things. You can get spinning rings or textured notebooks. Whatever works to keep your mind just a little bit more active so that you can pay attention to the boring stuff. Or just fit your hyperactivity into the rhythm of your day. Go for a long run before a long lecture, or do a bunch of jumping jacks in between Zoom meetings. This can really help you get all that hyperactive energy out of your system so that you seem calm when you need to. Tip number 3 is to create calming routines. This is especially helpful before you go to bed because hyperactivity is going to make it difficult for you to fall asleep. So if you give yourself a little bit of extra time to get tired and then do a lot of calming activities in that last hour or so before bed, you're going to have an easier time turning your brain off. Have a cup of chamomile tea while you read a book. Try meditating or even praying. You don't have to be super dogmatic about it. Just list off in your head the things and people that you're grateful for. A lot of ADHDers think that they have no ability to regulate themselves, and this is just not true. It is harder for us, but with extra practice, we can get into the hang of these things. And the thing is, the time isn't linear, and neither is our progress. We can feel like it is not working, that it's never going to work, and then the very next day, something clicks and we can hyper learn this new skill in a matter of moments after years of it feeling like it's never going to work. So do not give up on yourself. If you're getting even a little bit of benefit, keep doing those things because you're going to build up momentum so that you can really start soaring effortlessly. Trust me. And thanks for watching. I'm Kristen. This is Creatively Divergent. I make videos every week, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is a series of the pros and cons of common ADHD traits, so check out my playlist, and I'll see you next week. Bye.